So first of all, who am I? I'm the co-founder and the CEO of a little company called tinyBuild Games. I'm originally from Latvia, and for the past 5 years, I live in the Netherlands. And I am probably the most unlucky traveler in the world. I hate traveling, but I get to travel every third day. Outside of April this year, every third day I was in the airport. Previously, I worked at a company called Spill Games, which does a lot of Flash games. So they do web-based gaming. And before that, I was a game journalist in Russian media. I worked as a consultant for the police, and I was also a professional gamer during the Warcraft 3 era before the Frozen Throne came out. Does this work? Oh, perfect. So in today's presentation, in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly skim through what is tinyBuild Games. I'm going to talk about our iterative mindset and how we approach problems. I'm going to share the crazy story of SpeedRunners and Early Access, and I'm going to share some lessons learned. So in short, the company started when I was really bored licensing Flash games. I was on Congregate, and then I saw this page. It was a little game called No Time to Explain. The game was a 5-minute joke made in Flash by some guy in Manchester working from his bedroom selling Flash games. So I approached the guy. I go, like, your game is really, really awesome. All of your other games are really awesome. Why don't we partner up, make an indie studio, and publish this game on Steam? Like, was absolutely no plan whatsoever. I just sent him this message. About 3 months later, we launched this trailer, which I hope is going to play.
I am you from the future. There's no time to explain. Follow me to— Oh, Christ! Okay. I am you from the future. Wait a minute.
Now, this is beginning of 2011. This is 4 years ago. This is before Kickstarter became big. This is before Greenlight. This is before crowdfunding, all of that. So we decided to do a Kickstarter. It was something that was very uncommon, and there were only board games right there. What happened is that we became the quickest fundraising project on Kickstarter, raising over 26K in like the first couple of days. And Notch helped out a lot there by reposting stuff from Reddit. And we were like, okay, we have a Kickstarter, we have the money, we have extra opportunities flying in, and this is an email, Snapchat in Russian. Basically what it says is, we would like to publish your game in Russia, we will give you Steam access, and we're going to give you $20,000 of financing. This is from Buka Entertainment, a Russian publisher. We're like, okay, so we have, we're indie, right? We have the budget, we have Steam access, we're going to hire a dev, we're going to showcase the game, we're going to live the indie life. And about 3-4 months in, Buka replies saying that Super Meat Boy, which they published in Russia, didn't sell well, so they're canning all projects. All of a sudden, we're left with no access to Steam, only have the budget, and we're like, what now? Then okay, so I'm going to do this quite awkwardly. This was supposed to be an animation. Yeah, like that. So, new plan. We're going to hack together code because I'm a crappy coder. I code in JavaScript, and Tom, my partner, was coding in ActionScript 2, which is not the best way to approach things. We're going to hack the code together. We'll split the game in two and publish the game on our own website and market it via affiliates. It was this thing that I was into before, which is when if you sell my game and have a link in there, I will give you commission, so affiliate marketing. That was a terrific idea. Then we release, this is quite awkward, so I'm just going to delete this. In August 2011, we have released episode 1. So we split the game into half and just shoved one out of there. This was our nice little release poster. The game gets released. We make enough money to go to Las Vegas for Minecon under the invite of Notch. We showcase the game there. We get tons of coverage. The game sold maybe about $10,000 in total from our own website and from our Kickstarter backers, helping spread the word. Then we release episode 2, and we get basically zero, like absolutely zero at the end of 2011. Like, you shouldn't release in December, that's one, but we didn't have Steam access. At that time, if you're on Steam, you just made it. There was nothing else to do. So it was quite a depressing time. Most of 2012, we spent in limbo, just like doing nothing, just working in our main jobs, which was quite disappointing. But then a little thing called Greenlight got announced in August, and we were amongst the first greenlit games. I just remember I was sitting in my main job at about 7 p.m. In front of a desk alone in the office, and I get this email, and I just got up and started screaming for about 10 seconds. It was quite an experience, because then, like right now, everyone is on Steam. Like, getting through Greenlight is easy, getting on Steam is easy. But at that time, if you were on Steam, it made a huge, huge difference. So what we did is, this was supposed to be really nicely animated, but I'll just guide you through what we tried to do. So we had our ActionScript 2 main game as WF. Then we decided to go with Adobe Air. And then we would hook up the Steam API via Adobe Air extensions, and then have an executable that would be on Steam. And our average FPS was about 2 with that setup, because ActionScript 2 at the time, I'm not sure about it now, it always renders everything in full screen and settings high, which we didn't know about. So we kind of missed our launch there. Instead, we came back to the drawing board and, oh, right, well, this was supposed to be animated in. So instead, we came back to the drawing board, and instead, now, Programmer's Hero, you will really appreciate this. We have the ActionScript 2 main file wrapped in an ActionScript 3 file, and then we have a custom executable that connects with a local connection to the ActionScript 3 SWF, and then we have a bunch of DLLs that extend into that. Absolutely nothing can go wrong with this setup. It was horrible, but it barely worked. So we tested it. It worked in about maybe 80% of the cases. So we're like, fine, let's release. Our reviews can be summarized by the press as worst game ever, because in the beginning of 2013, we released on January 15th, people got Windows 8 laptops, especially the press, and on Windows 8, the fail rate was about 50%. It's like, if you connect a second monitor, game crashes. If you are in Metro mode and launch it from that interface, the game crashes. And like half the time, it would have a lot of glitches. If you have any custom cursors installed, it would glitch out. But the YouTubers really loved it. Like, all of a sudden, we had these tons and tons of videos on YouTube, and I just remember pressing F5 every time on the Steam admin, like, oh, plus 5K, oh, plus 5K. And we're like, on one side, we have these really depressing reviews telling us that we absolutely failed our Kickstarter backers, and on the other hand, we have these tons and tons of funny videos popping up all over the place. And I'm actually really good on time compensation here. Oh. Right. So we were really depressed by the reviews, because I was, being a former game journalist, having someone on Kotaku say that we're full of shit and we can't do video games is a big deal. So we have all of this money. We're really depressed. What to do? Let's go to Hamburg for an indie showcase within a little conference called Casual Connect. Now, to understand how our company formed, this is an important moment, because we're really depressed, like specifically me. We have this big bag of money that we made from No Time to Explain. We don't want to work on any new video game anymore. And I'm just stumbling around this indie showcase, much like here. And one guy hands me a controller for a little game called SpeedRunner HD, which looked like crap. He explained to me that the game failed on Xbox Live indie games, made like a couple of $1,000, and that's it. And that they were about to bring it to Steam. I played it for the next 2 hours sitting there. I fell in love with it, and then I'm like, I have no ideas what to do. Oh, let's go on a week-long cruise with a bunch of friends from Casual Connect. So I was on a cruise with my wife, Valeria Malayeva, and we were with another couple, with Luke Burtis, who was the director of Casual Connect at the time, and Yulia was running the showcase there. And during this week-long cruise, we realized that we're really bored at our main job. So Luke is bored of organizing conferences. I was still working at Spill Games. So why don't I just quit? Why doesn't Luke quit? And why don't we form a partnership with, where we position tinyBuild as an indie partner? We would sign SpeedRunners for code development. Luke would manage the business aspect of things. The original development team focuses on development, and we at tinyBuild, we would just focus on the marketing and visual aspects. Like Tom would take over all of the design work on the game. We spent about 6 months in crunch mode for a summer 2013 release during Pax Prime. At Pax Prime, we had a little table about the size of this thing at the indie mini booth, which was kind of done for a 4-player game. And we're right next to an aisle where people would walk. So we had a crowd that started to block the indie mega booth. Like, people would be like shooed off because it was impossible to go through. And this is when I realized that the game will become really, really big. And also, someone from the press stopped by, I think it was Kotaku or GameSpot, and was like, oh, you're publishing these guys, and wrote an article, oh, tinyBuild is now an indie publisher. We're like, okay, and that kind of got spiraled out of control, because over the past 2 years since then, we signed a dozen more games, and we're now expanding consoles to mobile. I'm going to skip the videos in the interest of time showing other games, but in short, it was Congregate, Kickstarter, Greenlight, Steam, SpeedRunners, indie publisher, Xbox One, PS4, mobile. Just summarize. This was just the intro. Now let's talk about SpeedRunners and the curse of indie multiplayer. This is how the character designs look now. Let's compare them with the old design. It's not as interesting. The original design just had one character. It had like some sort of weird superficial story. We started to focus on the character designs. To understand what the game is, because not many people raise their hands, I will just show you a quick trailer, and we're actually really good on time. Can we get some music, please?
I am the law. I am the night. I am
Nova Sprint, loving garbage girl. Yeah.
I'm just going to pause on a specific screen so that people understand what exactly is going on. In this game, what you do is you run around laps in a map. The camera will focus on the person in the lead that is detected by checkpoints on the map, and you have to knock people off screen. So the camera will not zoom out as far, and if you knock someone off screen, then you win. The trailer itself just shows more gameplay montage, so you knock other players off screen, etc. And it's coming to Xbox One later this year, and we're now on Steam Early Access with it. So what we did, we focused on working on the characters. Whoever speaks Russian is going to laugh. There is no people speaking Russian here. We gave the characters personalities, because even though they're like these really small things on screen, you can give them loads of personality via loading screens. You can make a meta. You can make comic books about horse care. And in this specific comic book, I really like it. It's about how to make sure that your horse doesn't get depressed. We did alternate reality games. We gave characters backstories. We made like really in-depth conflicts in the world, and then we turned those conflicts into different events. We made the world really bright and colorful, yet still it has the same aesthetic. But we did not touch the core of the game. Because the core is based on what Casper, the lead designer, refers to as the risk and reward-based design core. Putting it very simply, here's a path. You have characters going that way. You can either keep on going safely, get the boost, or you can risk making a jump over here, hitting your head into this tile, and getting that item. And then if you get an item that is really relevant to your situation, the algorithm will try to determine that. Then you can you have the risk and reward if you succeed. Same over here. You can we're going that way. You can take the bottom path over here and get the item, but obviously it's slower and more difficult to get into. Or you can just swing across there and not get an item. This is the core principle of SpeedRunners, which is why it makes the game really, really competitive. So now let's talk about the curse of indie multiplayer. If nobody is playing your indie multiplayer game, it's dead. There's nothing you can do about it. When we launched, let's just, yeah. When we launched, we had about 20 players online on average. And since they're all scattered through the whole world, they had a really bad experience. And this is something you really don't want when you're launching an indie multiplayer game. So we had a half-year uphill battle. There was a lot of desperate work with the press. We're able to build a small, loyal community of people that will play every day and like schedule specific times. We held tons of tournaments, events, modifiers, witch hunts, etc. But it didn't really work that well until a full change in marketing strategy, which was, oh, you're asking for a key, here's 50. So we realized that the audience that likes speedrunners is very broad. It's very similar to Minecraft, how like a 4-year-old kid will be able to play with a really elderly gamer. And then we realized that our market is like, what, 100 million people, give or take? So we just started, oh, Humble Bundle. Do you want 300,000 keys? Here you go. We want $2 for that. So we just started giving keys to everyone, and that really helped us. Then we started doing events every Thursday. We started to break the game. We're like, okay, we're in early access. We can get away with anything. So what if it starts to rain rockets from the sky? What if everyone runs 3 times faster? What if the maps are suddenly flipped? Or what if you slow down really, really fast, etc. This was our Thursday events, which really created community. Then we went one step further, and we started doing tournaments between the characters in the meta. So like if I play as Cosmo Comrade, who eventually won, and I win a point, then that would add up to like an overall amount of points. And then we held like an in-game tournament and crowned one of the characters the king, which was really funny and people really liked that. And then we had the whole YouTuber thing, because last year was the rise of YouTubers. We noticed this when, obviously we had sales spikes from when YouTubers played it, but then we started having this kind of stuff on our community hubs. You would think that this is fan art for speedrunners. No, it's not. This is fan art for Cinnamon Toast Ken, a famous YouTuber, playing speedrunners. Here is another piece of fan art in the same style. Here is Minx playing against Pewdiepie and Cinnamon Toast Ken. You can tell by the hat, the little bear hat over there. And there's a ton of this kind of stuff. It's insane how loyal people are to all of these celebrities. Like, are there any artists in the stage? Can you tell how long it took to draw this? And this is Pewdiepie in the form of Eunuch, our main character, playing speedrunners. This was drawn within days after he played it for the first time. It's amazing. Also, some amazing artwork right here. And here's Felix. Thank you so much, Felix. Then we started to add more characters. We decided to expand the world of speedrunners, so we made this little joke where it's like Rise of the Falcon, like the alter ego of the main team, and the enemy of the main team, sorry, like the villain of this universe, and we started to create conflicts in it. All in all, in the first year, we added 4 new characters in the Rise of the Falcon. We created a level editor, which did help a lot. Like, we have thousands and thousands of levels. We spent loads of time on these really trivial, small things, like, oh, this value should be like a fraction of a percentage higher or lower, and that made a huge difference. We also added a league system, which, if anyone plays League of Legends, then you know this. Like, if you win against higher skilled players, then you get a lot of points, and then you level up, and then you get matched with higher skilled players more. We made a deal with Xbox One and developed dozens more characters. Then we went to Pax Prime again, this time with our own large-ass booth. And I know a lot of people are like, why is this guy wearing such a bright hat? There is a whole backstory to that, which you can probably read on our blog. So Pax Prime 2014, it was very orange. We decided we found out how to stand out. When you go to a show, this is very important. You need to create a build that runs itself. So what you should do, what we did with speedrunners specifically, is we have bots in the game. And when you launch the show build, it just starts playing. Like, bots just start running. And if I press anything on any controller, then I take control of one of the bots. But then if I put it down and I'm idle for 30 seconds, then the bot takes over. And it just keeps on going. This is ideal for a show. And you should really think about how to simplify the rules for pick up and play at the show. Because if people can pick it up and play, just like at the show, and then come back and realize that this is a really, really good experience, online, then they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to come over, and they're going to make parties. And it's a really good drinking game as well. So now, there's a really useful Pax Prime postmortem on why it's orange, why it's all of that on tinyBuild.com. Do read it. I spent a lot of time writing that. Anyway, Pax Prime. Before Pax Prime, you can see that we do tournaments, all of that. Here's the whole team that was there. We flew out like 12 developers. Now, before Pax Prime, we asked ourselves a question. Wouldn't it be cool if the YouTubers would become characters in the game? And we started thinking about how can we pull this off. So we pulled together a little tournament during Pax Prime between the 10 famous YouTubers. We actually organized it with the parent company, which is now owned by Disney. And we just had them sit down, wear really tight t-shirts, like Jesse Cox put up an L-size t-shirt while he's double XL. He's barely breathing there, like this. Cinema Toscan, Dodger, all fans of SpeedRunners. We had them play it. And at the show, we actually, yeah, you can see he's like, At the show, we asked them, do you guys want to be characters and speedrunners? And they're like, hell yeah. So we developed a second in-game tournament where we have those famous YouTubers as characters in the game, and we had like a showdown between Speedrun, the original character, and the Falcon, like the new nemesis, and people were split into two teams. And what we did is we actually raised a lot of money for cancer research. We raised over $20,000 because that's the sales that we made in the first month. We donated the $20,000 to cancer research with the help of Humble Bundle, and then because of that, we got sponsorship for Awesome Games Done Quick, you know, the biggest live stream to date that went on for 7 days, which got us tons more exposure. So I was like, oh, okay, unexpected, but really, really pleasant. At this point, we had over 400 people online, so you know that kind of helped. And I remembered the whole affiliate commission thing at this point, because I was thinking to myself, why did it not work the first time? The reason it didn't work the first time is because we're counting on the press using affiliate links to, you know, sell the game, and the press have to be objective, and it would be Gamergate, but much, much earlier. So what happened is we reached out to Felix, to Pewdiepie. We reached out to a company called Gfinity, and we're like, let's make a tournament together. And if you guys at Gfinity, if you put it together for us, we'll give you a special affiliate link, and you'll get 50% of all sales generated during this promotion. And guess what? It worked out as, like, to date, it was still our most successful promotion ever. PewDiePie live streamed himself playing on Twitch against people in the tournament. There was, at the time, a record in concurrent viewers on a single stream on Twitch. We had record online players in SpeedRunners, record sales day, and then he got destroyed by our top players. It was not even funny. Like, our top players in the world, they just destroy everyone. There's a guy in the UK who was playing against PewDiePie, and he was just taunting. We can taunt in the game, which basically immobilizes you, makes you do like a funny animation. And half of it was this guy from the UK taunting Felix. And it was a commission-based deal, as I mentioned. At this point, we have over 1,000 players online on average, and peaks of over 4,000. And this is today's stats. We also put the GOAT in the game. We also put the Scout in the game, which is actually funny because, like, the way that the Scout went is we created an energy drink branded SpeedRunners, and we were just giving it away to really good players at Pax Prime. And then some guy from Valve who loves SpeedRunners came by. Oh, this is a great idea. Can we put this into TF2 and you put the Scout into SpeedRunners? We're like, yeah, okay, done, deal. So this kind of stuff really helped us get virality out there. Like, we did a promotion with Payday 2, where if you own SpeedRunners and you own Payday 2, then you would get special masks in Payday, and you could unlock Payday characters in SpeedRunners. We have the GOAT, we have the Scout. You can also unlock Gang Beasts, and all of these are activated via chat commands. So you go like /GangBeast, /Scout, /ba with 5 exclamation points. It's really annoying. If you type that right, then there's a goat sound, and people just keep on spamming the goat sound. We have Quap, we have Octodad. We also have like a little joke character, which we just added. If you play him on a weekday, he wears a suit, and he's XL. And if you play him on a weekend, then he's like, like has a boom box and is just wearing shorts. We do a lot of these stuff. We also added a little joke, which I think you guys should do in your studios. It's like, the speedrunners community is super loyal, and at one point, none of the main developers were in the office. It was me, the animator, and one of the developers. And we're like, let's put something dumb in the game and see if people find it. So we just added like a sprite of a potato, which just wiggles around with no animation whatsoever, and just a PNG of a potato as a windscreen. And we launched it, and people found it in the source code. Then people realized how to activate, and that was the most famous character of the game. And it was really funny because the community went like, oh, Herjan and Casper are away. Let's put more dumb stuff in here. So it was really funny. It's a cool way to interact with the community. I'm going to talk a little bit about XP and League systems and esports, because we just launched an XP system last week. Before that, it was just the League system where you, if I play against you and you win me, I lose points, which was a little bit unsatisfying for more casual players. So we added an XP system and about 50 new characters at once. So now when you launch SpeedRunners, you have only the main 4 characters and 2 maps unlocked and next to no weapons. And as you gather experience points, you keep on leveling up. It keeps people playing, and we had a day-over-day increase of 50% peak players, so people started to play much longer. So give people, even if it's a very simple multiplayer, give them long-term goals and have them unlock stuff. People really, really love unlocks. We're also now focusing on esports, like really heavily, because making an indie game work online, especially a brawler type game, is really difficult. And we were able to pull it out because we do a lot of smoke and mirrors. That's like a fully separate subject. And we have this show built which runs itself, and we're now working with a lot of LAN events all over the world where we say, hey guys, just put this build on for half hour and see if people like it. And people like it. People like it everywhere, so we're now working with a lot of esports communities. And it's really funny to see. It's like, you know, Counter-Strike Go being played over here, Mortal Kombat matches over here, and SpeedRunners, which I think is really cool. And we really want to focus on launching SpeedRunners as an esports style game. The so long didn't read version. Publishing and development goes hand in hand, so even though we're labeled as a publisher, we get really, really involved in games, so we help the developers as producers, we help as marketing people, and we really want to make interesting stuff happen with the game. We did catch the trend of YouTubers, and I think that was like the foundation for our success right now. And in terms of advice, I want to recommend that you guys spend the time to create special events with your community, because you really need those ambassadors that follow you wherever you are, that help you put stuff together. So the people that were there during our initial tournaments and events, they're now moderators on forums. They're now making fan art videos. They're now helping us design the game because they're much better at the game than we are. Do not be afraid to do crazy things, because this industry really, really changes a lot, and I'll talk about this a little bit later at the end. Do not forget to facilitate progression in game, and don't be afraid to fail. You have no idea how many features we scrap in games. I'm not sure what the mentality is in this game development region, but where I come from, failing is considered not an option, is not an option at all. So you have to do like your market research and whatnot. I think that's a wrong approach to game development. You never know what's exactly going to work. This is an old screenshot. This is, I think, from last summer when we reached 1 million sales with SpeedRunners. Right now it's about 2.5. I just think it's funny that we calculate the amount of time that people play in it, and it used to be 162 years just like half a year ago, and now it's way over 500 years playtime, give or take. I think that's really cool. So what's next in general? I think Twitch streaming is a huge, huge deal. We're working with street streamers right now. You can do a lot of things there. You can implement their API. You can have your audience interact with people who are playing it. There's a little thing called Vine, not the drink. Vine, the Twitter video client. It's these stupid 6-second clips that people keep on watching over and over again. For our console launch of No Time to Explain, we're going to do a campaign with a crowd of Vine people that are just going to make funny videos for us. We'll see how that goes. Live streaming from phones, like it surprisingly works. There's an app called Periscope, which people just live stream themselves doing stuff, and then viewers can tap a like button multiple times, and you see that people like your video. It's really cool. Instagram, Snapchat, I don't use any of those, but kids do, so you should really look into that. You really never know what's going to work until you try it. So I want to wrap this presentation up with something. I hope you got the parallel as I was talking, that we have never done market research. We have never looked into justifications or examples of what needs to be done. We don't have long discussions. I would rather fail 5 times and learn myself than read that someone 2 years ago tried something. Well, fantastic. If he tried it 2 years ago and failed, the market was completely different 2 years ago. There was no Candy Crush 2 years ago. 3 years ago, there was no Zynga. There was no Clash of Clans, etc. Our industry changes, so do not be afraid to experiment. And I think this is the last slide. I will end on a comical quote from Steve Jobs, which you can read for yourself. Thank you so much.
Alex, thank you very much.
I am on time.
Yeah, we on time, but we still have like 5 minutes for any questions. So please raise your hand if you have any questions.
And how is Boyd doing now in sense of multiplayer?
Boyd is now the game that is struggling with the curse of indie multiplayer because we found that launching an RTS purely focused on multiplayer is not the best idea. Like right now, literally today, I had a conversation with a developer. We're going to pause marketing for now until we develop a single-player campaign. So here's a word of advice. If you're trying to launch a multiplayer-only real-time strategy game, do not. Launch one that has a campaign that teaches players how to play, and then focus on the multiplayer.
So the biggest error was just throwing the multiplayer away without a single.
Yeah, the biggest error was that there was no compelling, like, hand-holding experience that guides the player, like, to understand all of the mechanics.
Because I was trying it and the game throws you right away into the multiplayer. And
Yeah, what we kind of underestimated with Boyd, it's our real-time strategy game, is that I know RTS. I used to be a Warcraft 3 pro gamer, which means that I made like $50 a month. And I understand that, the developer understands that, but we really underestimated the general public that does not understand it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.